CPD for me. It's mandatory CPD, practical and relevant.
So let's roll into what we're really going to do. We're going to break it down into 4 sections. We're going to keep it pretty simple from a language perspective. So, we'll look at what entails a good versus a bad strategy and some of the factors that influence whether the strategy that you've chosen is good or bad. We will also then move into the 3 phases of strategy. The first is making sure that you conceptualize it right, that you're dreaming up and determining the right strategy. And once you've done that, what you want to do as much as possible is make sure that it's located very strongly in what's going on in your environment, and it's not dislocated from what reality is with your clients, with your market, with the changes in technology sweeping through the sector and different service offerings as well. So to what extent is your strategy intelligent to its environment? And then finally, the challenge of execution itself, which is 80% of the challenge, is actually doing what you've planned. Why do you exist is more important to know than what you do it or how you do it. So in other words, you may offer a suite of services that are very interesting to you and they may be described in a very coherent way. But if you're not clear why you exist as a firm, what your core purpose is, what your higher meaning is, the stuff around how and what you do is often lost. So where do you build? Okay, now often it's around where you're already strong, instead of trying to build a whole bunch of resources and invest in an area where you don't have a foothold and you don't have brand strength. The wisdom is make a choice here. And this is from the great work of Tricky and Uyosimo, who wrote the book, The Discipline of Market Leaders. And what they determined was that most businesses, no matter what the sector, if they're successful, they tend to focus on one of those 3 circles that you've seen in your screen there primarily, whilst having adjunct strength in 1 or 2 of the others. So in other words, they all come into play, but you need to choose one. John Le Carre said, a desk is a dangerous place from which to view the world. Certainly from a strategy perspective, what you don't want to be doing is designing strategies in a laboratory. They must be based on real world intelligence, opening the door, getting out there, looking outside, really understanding what clients need, really understanding some of the global trends affecting law. I don't think you need to necessarily engineer it in the way that appears on the screen there. There's a big difference between a top-tier law firm and a startup. And what you want to do is engineer it for fit or for purpose. So in other words, the amount of detail, the amount of scorecards you create, and the business plans that fall out of that must have the right amount of complexity for the kind of work that you do. It's pointless in a fairly simple and straightforward business that's fairly opportunistic and entrepreneurial to have a very highly engineered scorecard with dozens of measures and strategic initiatives. Okay, it's not going to be appropriate. Finally, and this is just a little bit of an interesting lens from which to view change, because all strategies when executed represent change in some form. And that means that not everybody's going to be happy about it. And so this is the work of social dynamics, where we often need to convince others who don't necessarily want to move or don't necessarily want to adopt a position that we're taking.
I hope you enjoyed this session today from CPD4Me. Continuing professional development should be about learning new things, about challenging yourself to learn and grow, about finding better ways to do the things that you do every day.